Hi everyone. Now we're gonna talk about how to grow in Europe. Um, if you, for example, an e-commerce company, it's really important to uh, offer your products all around the world, but it's easier for you and your customers if you offer your product in their language. Because if you offer everything in English, you're gonna have much less customers because, for example, the Europeans cannot understand. Not every European can understand English. Everyone has their own language, and even the people who speak the same language, they can make misunderstandings. So this is why we made this conference um, to just help you how to get started with the growing. In the end, I'm gonna tell you about how you can work with me if you think you need some help. So let's get started. uh, First thing, you have to choose your product what you want to sell. This product should be that which you are currently selling at least 20%. So 20% of which makes 20% of your income. Because that's what your current customers likes and probably your new customer gonna like it. You might have to modify it a little. For example, if there is English text on it, you might have to transcribe that. But other than that, if your customer likes it now, your new European customers gonna like it as well. Uh, by the way, did you know if you start uh, expanding in Europe and you expand in 3 years time, then you can have 485 new customers per minute if you count it out. And that is just if you target everyone, which of course is not very wise to target everyone. So you're probably gonna niche down, and it's either gonna be quicker or you're gonna have more customers because people are gonna talk about you. Oh, this is the new thing, and everyone just comes. But you have to take a few steps before, 3 steps to be exact. First, choose the product what you know for. This is the product which is you currently have your 20% revenue. It's based on parental principle because 20% over sorry, I just missed that. So 80% of our revenue comes from 20% of your product. So this is why we choose the biggest revenue products, and then you can expand from there. Second, you decide on the country. The first country you're gonna nominate. The first country is usually important because it's like a new thing, and then you get into a new place. That's really exciting, and this is why you have two options in this. If you already have international customers, you just check where they come from and target that country, which is the most come from that language and that country, because you're gonna have success there. Except if you're international customer and expat, that's a different story, and it's a whole lot of different stories. So we don't get into this video, but that's also an option. And no, you don't have international customers yet. In this case, you have to check where are similar products what you sell. It's sometimes can be difficult because, for example, if you sell mugs, most people in most countries buy mugs, but you can use products like Taboola to check which country buy what kind of things, what kind of products, and this depends on the style. What is your style? What is your branding style? What is going on in that country? So it's good to check around. It's usually take a lot of research time if you don't know someone who already knows, or you didn't live in that country before. Because a lot of things is not in English. We trying to think is it English, but when you actually get there, you realize no, it's not in English. It's just the top high percent is in English. Because the locals are usually not in the top high percent. The locals usually in the middle percent, and the middle percent. Okay, people learn English in school if they learn English and not learn Spanish or French or German. Um, so that's what you want to target, the middle percent, because the middle percent are the locals. The bottom percent are usually people who come from different countries and come for these countries to find work. So this is why the middle percent, which is good to target, and this middle percent is speaking the nothing language and do most what the people do in that country. That's a little confusing, but you will understand in the end. And so check what's your biggest local competition. If there is no competition, there is probably people doesn't want to buy that kind of product there and move to the next country. There's 27 countries in Europe, in the European Union. So there is a lot to choose from. And once in one country you are well established, then it's more easily to go to the next one. Because between countries, especially in the summer, people travel all the time. And then I just say, oh, I see this mug. Let's stay with the mug. I see this really nice mug in, for example, Croatia. Um, and oh, it's unfortunate in a site. And they check in the bottom. Oh, this company, they check in where they come from. And oh, they sell it in locally. And then you're going to buy that one here also. Okay, and the third thing what is very important is strategy. I have my notes in here. This is why I look down sometimes. The third thing which is really important is the strategy. I also not a native English speaker. And for strategy, you need different things. You need a social media strategy, you need a SEO strategy, email marketing strategy, and payment. You have to set up payments because now, until now, you use your currency, but now you have to use the currency in the country you target. And no, not every country uses euro in Europe. Most countries do, but not every country. For example, I'm in Hungary. We don't use euros. Some shop they accept it, but not everything. And most people doesn't walk around with euros in their uh, pockets. Okay, I use Wise, so I can exchange, but if you want just want to target a normal customer, they don't gonna use euros. So you have to think about the currency and you think about currency exchange. This is where I use Wise because they have very low exchange fees. Uh, and you have to have a payment system uh, where you can accept all the local currencies, not just forint. You have to accept euros, forints. Croatia just now turning into euro before they use kuna. What as crown for Sweden and Norway and Denmark. Denmark maybe use euros now already. Zloty for Poland, and Poland is a very big market, so it's good to go into. The UK now out of the European Union, but they use pounds, and it's possible to go around, but it's very different with tax and legalities. So it depends on your situation. I cannot go into that also because it just doesn't fit into this short conference. That all the legalities, the European legalities and the legalities of the United Kingdom, it's like another conference, and I'm also not a lawyer, so I just know the basics, what I use every day. But I can refer you for someone if you need it. And also the shipping. if you ship inside Europe to a warehouse, for example, free PLR shipping, and then take your products all around from there, it's the most cost-effective option, because shipping around Europe is quick and it's not very expensive compared to shipping outside of the European zone and then bring it in and then ship it, because then you have to pay taxes twice. And also your customer have to pay if they want to ship from outside of the European zone, but if they ship from inside of the European zone, the price is already lower. So there is a competition for you there. There are plenty of companies who does free PL shipping. So, and I recommend free PL because then the company who you work with is managed the warehouse and is managed the shipping, and often they have multiple shipping to choose from, multiple companies, and your customer can decide what they prioritize, the price or the speed. And usually it's just a checkbox when they check in, when they choose how they want to receive your product. There is also 4PLR and 5PLR companies. The 4PLR companies, they speak with the factories, so and the 5PLR company also speak with the customers. I personally don't like these options because then the control is out of your hand, because if you know what the customers say, then you can just tell the warehouse how to modify your product if you need it, because a lot of customers say the same, then there could be a little modification and then you get even more customers. So it's something to think about. So back to the strategies, because I little get sidetracked. Social media. It's really important that when you make your social media strategy, you don't think about your customers as someone who is an English speaking person. No, they are not English speaking. They're gonna need French speaking, they're gonna need German speaking, and they're gonna socialize in that country. And if you want to speak with a Spanish person, they are very dynamic, they are really funny, and you have to speak differently to a Spanish person than you have to speak with the German person, who are always on time and they are different. So, for example, in Spain, they have a break in the middle of the day. In Germany, you work from this hour to this hour and then you go home. So it's just a different culture. And yes, they are near to each other. It's like you can take a train in these 2 hours, you are there. But it's like the light and day, night and day. So it's very, very different. And these kind of things you have to put into your social media. As also, some countries is a wine drinking country. That's a different culture than a beer drinking country. Some countries are both, like in Hungary. And yes, and drinking is a big part of the socialization in Europe, and I think in most countries. I say the non-drinker, actually. So it's good to check the trends, what is trending, and there had, and there are different festivities also per country, and that you can also work into your social media strategy. If you hear live, you already received the free year, the bonus, the free year worth of social media post for public holidays for all the European countries, because if you stay with Spain and Germany, Spain, there is always a holiday. They have so many festivities. But Germany, they just have a few. So you have to know what to post, when to post. So this calendar and the post are gonna be really useful for you. This is my thank you for coming. I see people who there. I just don't want to show each other's faces because of personality issues. The GDPR and things. Don't share everyone with everyone, and I'm gonna put this video in the internet, so it's better this way. Okay, so we talk about the social media technology to use the local happenings instead of like a global thing, because then the people will more tune in. And also you can do Easter. Easter is in different times. If you go to the Balkan, they are not in the Eurozone, not every country, but they have Easter different times than in other European countries because they are Orthodox. Uh, and also the same with the Christmas. There's 3 times the Christmas time. So this also plays into when to share which advertise. And when can you have sons? Mother's Day is also that kind of things. I see so many Mother's Day posts in Hungary when we didn't even have Mother's Day that day. Mother's Day in Hungary is the first Sunday of May. I know that because I'm born in 8, and there is always around that. So, but other countries, no. Other countries, they have different times. And then advertisers start to come and sell us things, but Mother's Day is already past or it didn't happen yet. So, oh, and my favorite is when there is the Children's Day and they try to sell Mother's Day gifts. No, Children's Day in Hungary is the last Sunday of May. Um, so, and these advertisers are usually, no one clicks on them, or just write a comment, it's not now, or they get really not nice comments. And the other thing I see so often, what people make as a mistake is they just machine translate, and there's so many mistakes in their translations that usually I feel sorry them and just correct it and send it back to them, because it's not easy to translate for other language. But the local people noticed and they just scroll through or didn't even make anything. So if you want someone to buy your product or service, you have to speak in their language, not with machine translation, not with AI. It's actual people language. And this is ties to the SEO strategy. Let's say, okay, so people in America, they usually use trousers, right? But in the UK, they use pants. And if you write in trousers, you're not gonna find anything. Maybe I say this backwards. And in America, they use pants, and in the UK, they use trousers. Anyway, you see the point? If you use target the keyword trousers, you're only gonna get one of the countries, not both, because it doesn't gonna search on that. One of them is gonna search trousers, and the other one is gonna search pants. So you're not gonna get anything, even if you are in the first you rank first for that word, but you rank for the wrong country. I can make examples with Germany and Austria also. They both speak, and also Luxembourg, they all three the countries, and Switzerland, they also speak German, but they speak different German. In Switzerland, German is just a language, so as France and Italian. So you can only target one part of the country of Switzerland. Switzerland is not in the EU, by the way. It's good to know. which is near to the German border. But if you want to target people who are near to Italian border, you speak with them Italian, and French they near to the French border. And the country's language is Rhaeto-Roman, uh, which is a third language. So these kind of things most people doesn't know because most people speak English, and then they just doesn't know that's not their actual language. They just learn it in school. Email marketing is also really important because we scroll through Facebook, we scroll through Instagram, and we scroll through all these local social media, but we check our emails. Most European people check their emails because they think of it as something important. And once people check your emails, a really good hack is to send them an actual mail, like in a post, and then they surely, you surely saw it, like a catalog. And then people like to see catalogs, actual catalogs which you can hold in your hand if you are selling already many products. And then they just take in what they want and they send you back. And then you have a lot of products. Um, and one more very important thing before we wrap up everything and we start the Q&A, which I gonna stop recording now. First, you target one country, and when you are established in that country, you put everything there. Then you target the next country, because you're gonna fall apart if you start everything at the same time. One country, and for 6 months you just stay in that country. Of course, when you started it, you just have to see the analytics and tweak a little, so you have time to in between squeeze in like send data transcription work for the translators for the next country. These kind of things you have time to squeeze in. So you don't have to just sit and tibble your thumbs, when is 6 months finished? But you do have to concentrate on one country at a time and tweak and tweak and tweak and tweak until you find that language of that audience. This is I can help you with. So, and the payment, we already talked about that. You have to set up something where you can accept multiple currencies. And 27 countries is good to target with my method, you can target it in 3 years. And then you can be well established there in 3 years. And this is like a lot of places and a lot of things to think about. So I'm here to help you to avoid burnout. And a quick thing what I offer is just to be well known in Europe, make a detailed action plan, and then actually follow through with it. You can have access to me with Google Chat, and then you can ask your questions, and I answer your questions, and I'm gonna answer, not anyone else. And if there is a long answer, I just shoot you a video. I'm not really bidding on voice messages. I'm really just shooting a quick video because sometimes it's just quicker. And of course, I don't speak all the 24 native languages of European Union. I can only know 14. No? So you're gonna get access to the talent pool too for 1,100 days, and then you can find professionals there, or we can find it for you. And now, oh, and the price will be 10K, 10,000 euros, because I think it's really important for the customers who are in Europe to get access to everything what English speaker people has, because they holding back just because they doesn't learn a language. I think it's being unfair with the non-English speakers that everything is only available in English. This is why I put my price so low, because I want to help more companies to give good stuff to the not English speaking population. and there is a lot of people around who doesn't speak English. Um, so that's it what I wanted to say, and now I stop recording and start the Q&A. Bye bye people who are not here live.